Hey guys, my name is Mike, and this is Math Tutoring with Mike. Hey, before we jump into our video, there are just a few things that I would like to review with you. The first thing is that I want to implore that at the end of this video, by the time that you reach the end of this video, I want to make sure that you understand the principles that we went over today in this video. So if you have to stop the video at any point in time, that you're confused, or if you have to rewind, I really want to suggest that you do that. The second thing is that after you've reached the end of this video, that you actually go back and try solving the example problems on your own. Doing this, I find, is very important with cementing the theories and cementing the understanding. That you actually understand what was reviewed. So, thirdly, chances are you came to this video with a specific problem that you had. If at the end of this video you realize that I have not addressed the specific problem that you are looking to solve, I invite you to leave me a comment or shoot me an email with your specific problem or specific question. And you have my word, I'll do my best to either preparing another video or reaching out to you personally how to solve that particular problem. Anyway guys, so on to our video. In this video, we will be seeing or reviewing how to convert fractions into decimal. How do we convert a term, such as when we see 3/6, for example? How do we convert that from 3/6 to 0.5? The approach here is that we would take our fraction and we would approach it like a regular division problem. If you recall, in a division problem, the 3 in this case would be the dividend. The 6 would be the divisor. And our answer would be the quotient, okay? Just if I throw around those terms, you know exactly what I mean. But if you recall, when solving a regular division problem, the divisor would go outside of the box. Actually, let me use a different color pen. The divisor would go outside of the box. Inside the box would be the dividend. And then we would solve this as a regular problem. So why don't we do this on the next page, so we can see how to convert from a fraction form to a decimal. So if we look at that same example, 3/6, okay, 0.5. How do we actually get 0.5? So if you recall, we're going to actually solve this the same way that we solve a regular division problem. So you have the divisor on the outside, you have the dividend on the inside, and now how do you solve it? Well, if you recall, we ask the question. We say, this number, the divisor, or this number, 6 times what number would give us 3 or less? It's very important that that the number that we find here, that it gives us a product of 3 or less. It cannot be higher than this number here. So we look at our times table and we try to identify that. We say 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. And if we look already, 6 times 1 is equal to 6. 6 is already higher than our dividend here. So the number has to be less than 1. So in this instance, that number is going to end up being 0. So we say 6 times 0 is equal to 0, okay? 6 times 0 equal to 0. So 6 times 0 equal to 0. Put a negative sign, and then we subtract. 3 minus 0 equals 3. So there is a decimal point here. Okay, so just a news flash. Anytime you see a number 3, that's equal to 3.0000. Okay, so we're going to add another 0 there. Well, first of all, we're going to put our decimal point directly above the decimal point in the dividend, and then we add another 0. And then what we do is we bring down this 0 to make it 30. So now we ask the question again, or we try to figure out 6 times what number gives us 30 or less. So we have to find out what number when multiplied by 6 would give us 30 or less. Okay, so if we look back at our times table, 6 times 0 is 0, 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 3 is 18, 6 times 4 is 24, and we're only going to go high enough to see where what number when multiplied by 6 gives us 30 or less. Okay, 6 5s are 30, and we found it. We put 6 times 6 is equal to 36, but we don't need it. 6 times 5 is equal exactly 30. So what we do is we take this 5 now, and we put it there. 6 times 5 is 30. When we subtract it, 0. So our answer for this division problem therefore becomes 0.5. And this is the reason why when we convert a fraction into decimal, 3 over 6 is equal to 0.5. Okay? Let's do another problem. How do you convert, let's do another simple one, 2/3 into a fraction, into a decimal, sorry. Okay, so once again, we're going to take the approach of dividing as normal. We're going to divide this number as normal. Okay, and I just like to do it a brand new page so we don't get confused. And we say that our divisor goes on the outside, our dividend goes on the inside. Our dividend is 2. Okay, and now we solve. 3 times what number equals 2 or less? So what number when multiplied by 3 is equal to 2 or less? So we look at our times table, we try to answer that. We say 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6. So it looks as though our answer is going to be 0 because we can't choose 1. If we choose 1, then 3 times 1 is going to equal 3, and we can't subtract 3 from 2. Okay, so we have to use a 0 here. Okay, 3 times 0 is equal to 0. When we subtract, 2 minus 0 is equal to 2. Okay, so our next step is we have to add a decimal point here, and wherever we add a decimal point, it has to go directly above it. And then we add another 0. Okay, so the reason why we do that is because 2 is the same as 2.000. It's the same number. We're not changing anything. Okay, and once we add the 0, we now bring that 0 down to our next problem. And we ask the question again. 3 times what number gives us 20 or less? What number when multiplied by 3 gives us 20 or less? Okay, so we're going to go back to our times table again. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 7 is 21. Okay, so we see we actually went over. Okay, we have to find what two numbers multiplied. What two numbers what number when multiplied by 3 gives you 20 or less. And we see here that when multiplied by 7, it gives us 21, which is higher than 20. So the number then has to now be 6. So what we do with that 6 is we take the 6 and we put it right there. And we say 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, 20 minus 18 is 2. Okay, and we must keep going because to get a decimal, we must keep going until we get a remainder 0. Okay, so we see here that we have to add another 0, and we're going to bring that 0 down. And it looks as though we're being asked the same question. We have to solve for the same question. 3 times what number gives us 18 or less? If you notice, we kind of solved it here. So we know the answer is 6. 3 times 6 is equal to 18. Remainder 2. We have to continue the process where we add another 0, bring it down. And you'll see that 3 times 6 once again is equal to 18. Remainder 2 again, right? And you see that it keeps going on and on. So 0.666666666. So a lot of times, teachers would allow you to represent the answer as 0.6667 per se, and that's because they may say, well, so how many decimal places you can determine that? Okay, so they say to 4 decimal places, then that's another problem that we have to figure out how to solve. But to this point, the answer here would be a 0.6666, and it would keep going on and on. Okay, so this is how we convert fractions into decimal. So you've made it to the end of the video. Good deal. I really hope that you understood what was reviewed today. Like I said earlier on in the video, I really think it's a good idea that you go back and try to solve the example problems on your own. That way you can prove to yourself, and you can help assure that you actually understand the problems. Well, until next time, with another tutoring session, another math tutoring session with Mike. See you guys.